And now I want to sit back and relax and enjoy my evening. When all of a sudden, I hear this agitating, grating voice.
He manipulated me, telling me that he was on medication, that he wasn't in his right mind, that he truly didn't understand what he was doing.
Alexandra, I wanted to come back here and just relax and have a good evening.
But you did a good job at really fucking up my day. And
our girl, Big Mama Dukers, decided to release a video talking about her father. So we will get right into it. Thankfully, it is only 4 minutes and 43 seconds long, which is ironic because she can talk about food for hours and hours. However, she can only talk about this for 4 minutes and 43 seconds. Interesting. Let's jump right into it. If I pause a lot, you understand why. If you are not subscribed already, please do so before the video starts. And if you are an Alex stan, you are not welcome here.
Today's video is not easy for me to make, but I know it's necessary. I've always promised to be real with you, and that
we're not even 10 seconds in, and she's already being a big fat liar. We're not even 10 seconds in, and she's already lying. There is absolutely nothing real about you.
includes taking ownership of things that are difficult, painful, and deeply personal. Recently, parts of my past resurfaced online.
It's not resurfaced if it's been there this whole time. And just like Nella said, farms, the Kiwi farms, which maybe I should start going on Kiwi farms. It's half the time I try to load the pages, they don't load properly, so I just whatever. But the farms and Reddit have been calling this out for years. So no, it's not just resurfaced. The only reason why people like me are bringing more attention to it is because of that little stunt that you pulled. So now our foot is on your neck indefinitely.
A letter I wrote years ago in support of my father and photos of him at my wedding back in 2021. And I understand.
Pause. A letter? Did she say a letter?
Of him, a letter. Recently, parts of my past resurfaced online. A letter I wrote years ago.
A letter. Wrong. Letter number 1. Written in 2012. My name is Alexandra Thomas. I am Roger's daughter. I live up in Massachusetts with my mother, but I came down to visit my dad this past January. I'll admit, this experience has been quite heart-wrenching for a lot of my family, but it was definitely a blessing in disguise. Your father
raped
his 15-year-old adoptive daughter, and this was a blessing in disguise. Are you serious? And by the way, the letter she's talking about is this one. She wrote 2 letters, but she's only going to talk about this one. Spoiler alert. My father and I have never truly had a relationship until a few years ago. It was just a few phone calls and maybe a visit every few years, but I longed to have a loving, true relationship with my dad. Until this whole experience happened, I hardly knew my father. Once he was in prison, I truly believe my father had an emotional breakthrough. Roger began to believe what he had been missing out on, the quote, "You don't know what you got until it's gone." How about the innocence of your stepsister? That's gone. Really is exhibited here. My dad began to call me weekly after we had exchanged letters for months. It took a lot for me to open up to this man I hardly knew, but I am so extremely glad that I did. My father gave me several warm, heartfelt apologies that I can feel in my soul are sincere. Did he apologize to his adoptive daughter, though? That is the thing. I don't give a shit if he apologized to you. The only thing I would kind of care about is if he apologized for abandoning you, but even then, I really don't care. His apology to you means absolutely fuck all, when the person who was actually abused was the stepdaughter. That poor woman. I hope she doesn't come across these videos, and if she does, I hope she can see how many people are truly on her side. Getting to know my father now, regardless of so much wasted time, is absolutely incredible. I love having a male role model in my life. Oh my God. Having a male role model in your life who raped his 15-year-old adoptive daughter on multiple occasions. It wasn't just once. Not that that would make it any better, by the way. Multiple occasions. Yep. Although my dad has made a poor decision that has led to such terrible circumstances, yes, for the stepsister, not for him. He deserves to be thrown through a wood chipper. I know he's a good man. No, he's not. He abandoned you as a toddler to go have a new family and then raped his adoptive daughter. There is nothing good about this man, father or not. If that was my dad, oh my God. And his fatherly role has completely reversed with me. Since this has changed our relationship so much, we now speak on the phone at least once a week. Going to see my dad this past January was one of the most emotional experiences of my life. Could you imagine going to go see your dad knowing he raped a child? If I visited my father who did that, the only reason I would be going is to put a screwdriver through his eyeball. For legal reasons, that is a joke. I had not seen my dad in about a decade. Regardless of the time gap, speaking with him so much over the phone made me feel as if I'd seen and known him all my life, but you haven't because he's a fucking loser. Having to leave that prison and not know when I'd see him again completely broke my heart. But it didn't break your heart knowing that he raped a child. The past few years has changed everything. Having my father in my life is the biggest blessing, and I am extremely grateful. Imagine being grateful for a rapist. My dad made some poor decisions. But I truly know in my heart that he has learned his lesson. Really? Yeah, because guess what? He broke his probation in 2020 for liking his adoptive daughter's, his victim's post on Instagram. So she has a permanent restraining order against him. He learned his lesson, yeah? Let me get something crystal clear, like she says in this video. Rapists, especially child rapists, they cannot be rehabilitated. Ever. At all. And I do not care if you disagree with me, because if you do, I'll look at you like this. You're a sympathizer, just like her. Go to her page, go to her account. Yeah, we'll look at the comments too, by the way. Sick. All those people need to be put on a list. I would love nothing more than for my father to get out early and for us to take our new father-daughter relationship to the outside world. Well, you did it, sweetheart. Despite the decision you may make, this experience had a positive impact on our relationship, and I am thankful for that. Every phone call has taught me something new and brought us closer. Every phone call I can hear the tears rising through my father's voice. Thank you for taking the time to read this letter and review my father's case. Letter number 1, by the way. If I had to write a letter because my father raped his 15-year-old stepdaughter, it would go like this. Kill him. Disrespectfully, Melina.
Oh, in support of my father and photos of him at my wedding back in 2021.
Yeah, her wedding, which had children there, by the way. She brought her child rapist convicted father to her wedding with children there. Let me tell you something about child rapists and child abusers. There is never one victim. If they got caught for one victim, it's because they've only been caught for one victim. It's never just one.
And I understand how upsetting and confusing this has been for many people.
Yeah, because in her comment section, people like us, like you watching, who vast majority are people who don't like her for this reason and other reasons, are commenting on her YouTube, on her videos on YouTube, and a bunch of her followers are like, Alex, what is this? Like, what is this? What is this? Yeah, it is confusing because you never talk about it. I mean, obviously, but yeah, everyone's calling your ass out.
And I just want to speak honestly from the heart and provide the full context. So
you might want to provide the full context by saying there were 2 letters, of which the last one was in 2023.
Starting from the beginning, my parents divorced when I was very young, and my father left my life almost entirely when I was just 2 years old. He moved away and started a new family, and I saw him maybe once a year, if that. He wasn't really a father to me, and his absence left deep emotional scars that I've carried with me throughout my life into adulthood.
And that, I will say, is crappy and shitty, and I do feel bad for her for that situation only. That's it.
When I was a young teenager, I found out my father had been arrested and sentenced to 8 years in prison for having sex with a 15-year-old.
Wrong. You cannot just have sex with a 15-year-old. That is called rape. This part of the video pissed me off the most because all she's doing is minimizing what her father did. He did not have sex with a 15-year-old. He raped a 15-year-old girl. Anything else that she says, I don't give a shit anyway. But anything else that she says after this point means absolute fuck all because she's minimizing what he did. And why this pisses me off so much, why am I so angry and fired up, is because I am a survivor of CSA and SA. So I know what it's like to be on the other side of this and to hear someone saying, oh, he just had sex with a 15. He raped her. This is a part of the reason why survivors don't come out. Victims that turn into survivors don't come out and tell people what happened because of shit like this.
It was horrifying, traumatic.
Yeah, imagine how horrifying and traumatic it was for her.
And incredible.
And then to have him reach out on her Instagram and start liking her pictures again.
Incredibly hard to process. In the midst of all of that, once he was in prison, he began reaching out to me.
Because he's a loser.
Manipulated me, telling me that he was on medication, that he wasn't in his right mind.
Yeah. Who here, raise your hand, has taken medication and then that made you rape a 15-year-old your 15-year-old stepdaughter multiple times? Really? Alexandra? Really? That's the excuse you're going to accept from him and that you did accept from him? Even if you were a teenager when it first happened and he said that, I would think that a teenager would have the understanding that medication doesn't do that.
And that he truly didn't understand what he was doing.
Oh yeah, he totally just slipped and raped her multiple times. Yeah, he didn't know what he was doing. He didn't understand. God, this bitch is so stupid.
And that he felt remorse. And
he felt remorse because he got caught. That's what it is.
As a teenage girl who had always longed for a relationship with her dad, I desperately wanted to believe him.
Well, you're stupid.
Desperate for a connection with the man who had abandoned me. And
you're stupid.
And that longing just kind of clouded my judgment. I began communicating with him regularly for the first time in my life. He told me he wanted to be in my life, and I held on to that hope even when I knew I shouldn't have.
So you're extra stupid. You're like actually dumb. Because a normal person would be in that situation and say, fuck off. Absolutely the fuck not.
When he was released from prison, I made a choice that I will always regret. I allowed him to attend my wedding. I also wrote a letter to the judge reflecting my own limited and manipulated experience.
2 letters.
I want to be so clear in this video. I was not fully aware of the details of his crime.
Wrong.
And that's on me. I was not thinking clearly. I was vulnerable, and that's not...
This is her, again, minimizing it and creating excuses as to what she did. If she would have simply, Amberlynn redoes this also, instead of just taking true accountability and saying, this is where I fucked up, this was wrong, I am so sorry, I regret what I did for X, Y, and Z reasons. Instead, they say, well, yeah, I kind of messed up, but here are the reasons why, so you can't really be mad at me. No, drop the reasons, drop the excuses, take accountability. These fucking women have absolutely no idea what personal responsibility is. They don't know what extreme ownership is, and they also don't know what relentless discipline is. God. And the reason why I said those 3 is because those are like my biggest pillars and the things that I strive towards and the values that I try to instill in others. Because I used to not be like these people, absolutely not. But all 3 of those characteristics, extreme ownership, personal responsibility, and relentless discipline, I had none of those things. And I clawed my way through hell to create the person that I am today. So when I see people that are like the opposite, like this, ugh.
Excuse, I was wrong. And even though I've long since cut ties,
Also, she's reading a script. Her vernacular is not like this. Absolutely not.
once I gained that clarity and stepped back from the manipulation, I understand that the pain this has resurfaced is valid.
But you never said anything or apologized to anyone, especially your stepsister.
And I take full accountability for the choices that I made in that.
You're only taking accountability because you're being called out. I think there's been at least 5 or 6 other videos covering this. Isn't it crazy what can happen in like a week? You try to copyright strike all the small creators, and then it's like a tsunami. You can see like the tide is slowly going out into the sea this way. Here's the sea. Here's the beach right here. It's going out, and in far distance you can see the big waves, and the big waves are coming. The big waves are here, sweetheart. We're not letting loose. We're not letting go of this
Period of my life, even though I made them under emotional pressure and
enough with the excuses.
just this
No one forced you to write both of these letters.
deep desire for love and connection. But let me be crystal clear. I do not condone, excuse, or support his actions. What he did was wrong, period. And if I could go back, I would have never written that letter.
Letters. Letters. Multiple. 2, sweetheart. 2.
I would have never let him into such a sacred and personal moment in my life, but I can't go back. What I can do is acknowledge my mistake, learn from it, and take accountability for
What are you learning from this? What are you going to learn from this?
it. I've done so much work to process the trauma, not just from what he did, but from his lifelong absence, and to establish boundaries that I should have had from the start.
Really? Because the the hotels that she goes to when she goes on vacation with her son, 9 minutes. 9 minutes from her rapist father's house. Yet she doesn't see him or take her son to go visit him. Yeah, that's a huge coinkadink, don't you say? And normally I would block out his address, but this is all very public knowledge because he is a convicted child rapist. So, whatever. And also, if people live in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and you're watching, or even just places close in Florida, it is good to know that there is a convicted child rapist living there. So, also, what is that one website called? Megan's Law. You can type in your address, and then it'll show you all the offenders in the area.
To anyone who has been hurt, triggered, or disappointed by seeing these things, you have every right to feel that way, and I am so sorry. My choices in the past gave space to someone who should have never had it. Being in the public eye means that even in the most private, painful parts of your
Those aren't private, though. It's all public. It's all public knowledge.
life, they can come to light. And that's exactly what's happened here. I never wanted this part of my story to be public because it's
Of course you didn't, because you were wrong.
deeply personal. But I also recognize
If it was...
that when it becomes public, silence isn't an option.
Cool. Now discuss your public copyright strikes on small creators. You've addressed this ever. I don't think we're going to get anything more out of this. Now address the copyright strikes, because that is like the main thing that people were annoyed about. And then of course it just, everything else comes out.
This has been a painful wake-up call about the importance of boundaries, transparency, and emotional clarity. I've learned from it. And
what did you learn? She's only doing this so she doesn't lose subscribers, which I have something funny to show you guys after this.
I really hope that by sharing this, I can offer honesty, closure, and clarity moving forward. I am so sorry for the pain this has caused. Thank you for those who have shown compassion and giving me this.
I don't have compassion for child rapists and pedophile sympathizers. Ever.
Space to explain, and thank you so much for listening.
I don't accept your apology. I'm glad to see that the comments calling her out are actually on the top. That makes me happy because she was hiding a ton of them. Yep. Good. Yes, this is a disgusting and pathetic attempt. You defended a rapist because you care more about your own feelings than anyone else, including SA victims. I just saw a TikTok from a victim stating how horrifying it was to read letters defending her stepdad and asking for a lenient sentence. So don't kid yourself. You absolutely hurt this victim, your own stepsister. Since the letters are public knowledge, after watching this video, my mind immediately thinks of the victim, your stepsister. This could easily re-traumatize her. I sincerely hope she was consulted prior. So you wrote 2 letters and forgot to mention the victim was your own stepsister. Accountability who? 2 letters. You wrote 2 letters. The details you have chosen to omit are intentional. Survivors like myself see right through you. Yep. You didn't even apologize to the victim or mention that she's your adopted sister. Closure for who? Oh, he raped a girl. Is that what you mean? Do not sugarcoat SA. Yep. Jessica Burgess says, thank you for being perfect. Jessica also likes to diddle kids, apparently. Yep, there's no such thing as having sex with a 15-year-old when you're a grown man. Why in the world would you choose those words? Exactly. Okay, I'm really glad. So earlier, the top comments were all like, you don't need to address this. This is none of our business. But like all comments like that. So I'm really glad. You were manipulated. See, you were manipulated by someone who was supposed to love, protect, and support you. You're okay, Alex. Just heal. You don't owe us anything. Chloe, you are also a sympathizer. I'm so sorry you had to go through all of that. Mandy, you are a sympathizer. Whoever is making you feel so bad that you had to make this video, they need to look in the mirror and stop judging others. I will always judge child rapists. The real mech, you are a sympathizer. Oh, Alex, I'm so sorry. It's so difficult to want something so badly that you believe people when they change. That's a deep hurt and it's hard to get through. You should be proud of yourself. Courtney, you are a sympathizer. I just want to give you a hug. Julie, you are a sympathizer. Alex, the people bringing this up are all bullies. The fact that you are addressing it, wow, you are strong. You are amazing. We love you. I thought I saw a bird right there. Ferrari girl, sympathizer. So you guys get the point. So because of this, people on Reddit, they're keeping track of her subscribers and followers on Instagram because as this comes out, of course, sane, rational people, unlike her stans, are going to unfollow her. So it's been known / proven that she buys her followers and subscribers, especially with things like this. So they've been going down, and then Sir Farts a lot said she's already buying followers. If you go on her following, click on any of the recent ones, they all say new. And then Original Fuck Girl said, this new profile has a picture of Nancy and Anderson. Look. So she needed to put her child in daycare so she can create sock accounts to boost her following. Not a good look, girl. All right, this post is amazing. It is by MMG1617 on Reddit. And yes, I did ask them if I can talk about it, and they did say yes. So hello, MMG, if you are watching, thank you for the approval. Here are a few things you need to know. Her dad did not just have sex with a 15-year-old girl. Her dad forced himself on his adopted daughter, her adopted stepsister, when she was 15. These are 2 very different scenarios, as hearing the story told in Alex's words may lead you to believe the girl was a willing participant. Even if she was, which she was not, but even if she was, children under 18 cannot consent to having sex, even if they are willing. If you're only listening, I'm putting willing in quotes because they cannot consent. You cannot have sex with anyone without consent, and especially if they're under the age of 18. You freak. Number 2, nobody hunted this information out. Alex is a public figure, and this information, her dad's crimes, articles about it, Alex's letter, are all public documents. Anyone can access them. This is correct. Ample evidence exists to prove that Alex is misrepresenting her disapproval of her father's situation in this alleged apology. In a Draw My Life video many years after his arrest, an adult Alex in her early 20s said something unfortunate happened to her father. She has routinely gone to Florida each year, coincidentally right near where her father lives. Also, the other hotel that she frequents before Anderson was born was also about a 10-minute drive away. She has routinely gone to Florida each year, coincidentally right near where her father lived. She wrote a letter in 2023, 2 years ago, openly stating that her dad was not a threat to anyone. Nancy openly complained on a public platform that it's hard for a man who served his time to find work, and subsequently after that, she found him a job at a real estate business company because she felt bad. Alex is well aware of what her father did and excused his actions, glorifying his character just 2 years ago at the age of 30. Not as a vulnerable teenager. Just 2 years ago, she advocated that he was an overcomer who was no threat to anyone. Think logically, although anyone praising a mediocre human being like Alex and calling her inspirational may struggle with that. Why do you think she's suddenly addressing drama that came to surface well over a year ago at least? She allegedly cut ties with him in adulthood. Why not say that before? Why now? Coincidentally, she was caught trying to tear down multiple small channels with copyright strikes, and it is opening up a conversation about her and her behavior, namely that she has no empathy for other channels exercising their legal right to respond to her, like it or not, but openly advocates for a child predator. In traditional Alex fashion, when she is caught doing something wrong, she posts a manipulative, sad face, crocodile tears. Yeah, there were no tears in that video. Video preying on her naive supporters by making herself look like a victim. She isn't one. The only victim here is her father's victim. 4, to anyone saying this is none of our business, let me ask you a question. How would you feel? Yeah, anything that involves children and people preying on children is everyone's business. And the people who try to say that's not our business are people who prey on children. Because guess the easiest way to prey on a child is when no one is paying attention. We have to pay attention to children. Children, or really anyone, are more likely, if they are going to be sexually abused, it will happen more likely than not by someone who is close to that person / their family. Your likelihood of being SA'd by a stranger is significantly lower than you being SA'd by someone you know. This is why we need to be extremely careful about who we put our children. I mean, I don't have kids, but I ride for the kids. I ride for the children, and I will fight tooth and nail for kids and against child abusers. Not only because it's the right thing to do, but because I know the kid in me that needed that would be proud. I would put them through wood chippers if I could. Little me, but I can't legally. Can you rant wood chippers? How would you feel knowing that his daughter knew this and wrote letters to say what a great guy he was and how he was no threat to anyone after he robbed your loved one of her innocence? Furthermore, how would you feel if this daughter had a platform and other girls admired her, not knowing that she served an essential role in getting her dangerous predator of a father out of jail? Years ago, Me Too and Time's Up have become a thing because of people like Alex, people who brush acts of violence under the rug, justifying that the accused is misunderstood, troubled, and worthy of a good life after they overpowered and destroyed another human being. Alex's particular situation may be her business, but in making the decision to advocate for her father on public record as an influencer appealing to women, she has chosen to make an example of herself. An example that needs to be exposed and shut down if we as a society are going to discourage similar situations from happening in the future. Yes, because if she never wrote those letters, none of this would have come out. Maybe people would know that he did that, but it's like, well, that has nothing to do with her. The problem is this, or these. This is the problem, Alex. It's not that he did that, which is a problem. But the reason why we're blasting it is because of the letters. What you do in the dark eventually comes to the light. Alex is a SA apologist. No insincere apology changes that. Alex is trying to rob other influencers of their free speech. Alex is manipulating the truth and telling the story in a dishonest way that makes her critics look like bullies. And yeah, and by the way, this isn't bullying. This is simply telling the truth. And if you think this is bullying her, then you are also an SA apologist. Bye. But does this mean loser? I see people do this on like Instagram. I don't know if it's a dance or if them going like loser, loser. That's how I do it. Loser, loser, loser. And those calling those reacting angrily to this bullies. No, reacting angrily to an upsetting situation isn't being a bully. Bullies are those who abuse their power. Alex is a bully, continually spitting in the face of her father's victim and silencing anyone with the nerve to call her out. Good luck. She abuses her platform to control the narrative and misrepresent her father and herself. Do not support this bully. Give her what she deserves. Nothing. Ooh, man, that was a lot. I think that is everything. Everything that I wanted to cover. So yeah, let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. If you're not yet subscribed to my channel, please do consider doing so. I just hit 20,000 subs. I am doing a giveaway. It won't be posted in this video because No, it'll be posted in my next video that I actually recorded today at lunch. So today, but like I said, Alex, I wanted to come home. I wanted to come back here, edit the video, relax a little bit, hang out with the pups, but
you did a good job at really fucking up my day. And then you said you made steak. Nigga, that
thank you guys so much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.